May in the greenhouse is when the garden stops being cute and starts becoming a full-time job. A few weeks ago, everything was tiny, innocent, and easy to manage. Now the plants are growing fast, the beds are filling up, and every time we visit, something has either doubled in size, started flowering, or developed a problem that requires a small gardening investigation. So here's the May update from our greenhouse garden in the Netherlands. The good news: many crops are growing really well. The slightly less good news: the garden is now entering its "I need attention every 5 minutes" era. But that's May. Everything starts moving quickly. The soil is warmer, the days are longer, the greenhouse holds more heat, and the plants finally act like they've read the instructions. One of the biggest experiments this year is growing courgettes vertically for the first time. Normally, courgettes are not exactly polite plants. You give them a little corner, and 2 weeks later they are trying to annex the entire greenhouse. One leaf goes left, one leaf goes right, and suddenly you need a map to find the cucumbers. So this season, we're trying to train the courgettes upward. The idea is simple: save space, improve airflow, make harvesting easier, and hopefully reduce disease pressure. Courgettes can be prone to powdery mildew later in the season, especially when the leaves are crowded and airflow is poor. So growing them vertically should help keep the plant more open. That's the plan. Of course, the courgette plant may have its own plan, and the courgette's plan is usually become enormous. Tip number 1. If you want to grow courgettes vertically, add support early. Don't wait until the plant is huge and leaning sideways like it just heard disappointing news. Start training it while it is still young. Tie it gently, remove old lower leaves when needed, and keep the base of the plant clear. Mistake to avoid: planting courgettes too close to cucumbers or other big plants. They all look small in May. That is the trap. By July, they become leafy furniture. Speaking of cucumbers, we're also making sure they have enough space and airflow. In a greenhouse, airflow is everything. A greenhouse can help plants grow faster, but it can also turn into a humid little disease hotel if things get too crowded. So one of the biggest May jobs is not just planting, it's editing. Removing what's finished, moving what's too close, opening space before problems spread. And that brings us to the sugar snaps. The sugar snaps gave us a nice harvest, and we've been able to harvest them together with rucola for donations. That's one of the best parts of growing food. Not just eating it yourself, but sharing it. Fresh sugar snaps and rucola may look simple, but when they go to people who can use them, it makes the whole garden feel more meaningful. Also, sugar snaps are dangerously snackable. You harvest one, you eat one. You harvest 3, you eat 2. Suddenly, you're calling it quality control and hoping nobody checks the basket. The rucola has also done well. Fresh, peppery, fast-growing, and perfect for early harvests. Tip number 2. If you want quick harvests in spring, grow crops like rucola, lettuce, radishes, spinach, and sugar snaps. They give you something useful before the summer crops take over. Because tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and courgettes take time. Early greens keep you motivated. And snacks help gardeners make better decisions. Probably. But the sugar snaps also developed powdery mildew, and that's where the garden made us choose between being sentimental and being smart. Powdery mildew is that white, dusty-looking fungal problem you often see on leaves. It can show up when plants are stressed, crowded, or when airflow is poor. And in a greenhouse, once powdery mildew gets comfortable, it starts acting like it signed a lease. Because we have courgettes and cucumbers growing nearby, we don't want to risk the mildew spreading or building pressure around those crops. So even though the sugar snaps produced well, we're removing them now. That can feel a bit painful. The plant is still there. It gave food. It looks like maybe you can squeeze a little more out of it. But sometimes the best gardening move is to remove a crop before it becomes a bigger problem. Mistake to avoid: leaving diseased plants in place too long because you feel bad. I get it. We all get attached. But the garden is not a plant museum. If a crop has done its job and is now putting other plants at risk, it's time to clear it out. Remove infected plant material, don't compost it if the disease pressure is high, and improve airflow for the crops that still have a long season ahead. The sugar snaps had a good run. They produced, they contributed. They are now being retired before they start causing cucumber drama. And cucumbers do not need extra drama. They already bring enough. Another fun update this month is the tomatoes. Some tomato plants have sprouted from seeds that fell on the ground in previous years. Volunteer tomatoes. The garden's version of, "Surprise, I'm back!" No seed tray, no label, no planning. Just tiny tomato plants appearing like they have unfinished business. And honestly, I love that. There's something fun about plants that come back on their own. They feel like little garden rebels. Of course, there's a catch. You don't always know what variety they are. You don't know if they'll grow true to type. You don't know if they'll become amazing producers or just leafy freeloaders. But when they look healthy, it can be worth transplanting a few and giving them a chance. Tip number 3. Volunteer tomatoes can be useful, but don't let them grow everywhere. Choose the strongest looking seedlings, transplant them carefully, and remove the rest before your greenhouse becomes a tomato jungle with no exits. Mistake to avoid: keeping every volunteer tomato because free plants. Free plants are only free until they steal light, water, nutrients, and your walking path. Select the best ones. Be ruthless. Tomatoes respect confidence. Probably. When transplanting tomatoes, plant them deep. Tomatoes can form roots along the buried stem, which helps create a stronger root system. Remove the lower leaves, bury part of the stem, water them in well, and give them support early. Do not wait until the tomato is already falling over. Tomato plants are like toddlers with fruit. They need structure. Another thing we're watching carefully in May is spacing. This is the month where bad spacing decisions start revealing themselves. Everything looked fine when the plants were tiny. That is how they trick you. You plant them close together and think, "This will be efficient." Then a few weeks later, every leaf is touching another leaf, airflow disappears, and you have created a luxury resort for pests and mildew. Tip number 4. When in doubt, give summer crops more space than you think. Tomatoes, cucumbers, courgettes, peppers, and eggplants all need airflow, especially in a greenhouse. Good airflow reduces disease pressure, helps leaves dry faster, and makes it easier to spot pests early. Mistake to avoid: filling every empty gap just because empty soil makes you nervous. Empty space in May is not wasted space. It is future airflow. It is future access. It is future you saying, "Thank you for not making this impossible." We also had one of the nicest surprises of the season: a bird nested in our plum trees. That's one of those garden moments that reminds you the garden isn't just about vegetables. It's an ecosystem. Fruit trees, insects, birds, flowers, soil life, and crops are all connected. And apparently, the plum tree passed the bird safety inspection. 5 stars. Would nest again. Of course, when birds are nesting, the best thing to do is give them space. Don't disturb the nest, don't keep checking it, and don't act like the garden paparazzi. Just enjoy the fact that wildlife feels safe enough to move in. That's a good sign. It means the garden is becoming more than a growing space. It's becoming habitat. May is also the time to start checking plants more often. Not once every 2 weeks, not "I'll look later." Now is the time to inspect leaves, especially the undersides. That's where pests love to hide. Aphids, whiteflies, spider mites, and tiny eggs are usually not sitting on top of the leaf waving at you. They're underneath, plotting. Tip number 5. Check the newest growth first. Pests often go for soft, tender growth. Look for curled leaves, sticky residue, tiny insects, yellowing, spots, holes, or webbing. If you catch problems early, you can often manage them before they become a full greenhouse soap opera. Mistake to avoid: ignoring small problems because the plant still looks fine. That's how one aphid becomes a family reunion. And if you're not sure what you're seeing, this is where the StrongEcho AI Garden Buddy can help. You can upload a photo of your plant, leaf spots, pest damage, or mystery problem, and get guidance on what might be going on. That's useful because not every yellow leaf means disaster. Not every hole means the same pest, and not every sad-looking plant is dying. Some are just dramatic. The AI plant and pest identifier helps you check possible problems faster, so you can make better decisions instead of guessing for 3 weeks while the plant silently judges you. Another important May job is watering. In the greenhouse, plants can dry out faster than you expect, especially on sunny days. But overwatering is also a problem. So the goal is not water everything every time because love. That is not love. That is swamp management. Tip number 6. Check the soil before watering. Stick a finger into the soil. If it's still moist below the surface, wait. If it's dry, water deeply at the base of the plant. Try to avoid wetting leaves too much, especially on tomatoes, cucumbers, and courgettes. Wet leaves plus poor airflow is basically an invitation for fungal problems. Mistake to avoid: light watering every day. That encourages shallow roots and can stress plants when the surface dries out. Deep watering less often is usually better for many crops. Also, mulch can help keep soil moisture more stable. Straw, compost, grass clippings that have not been treated with chemicals, or leaf mold can help protect the soil and reduce evaporation. Mulch is not glamorous, but neither is constantly rescuing thirsty plants. So far, the greenhouse is moving in the right direction. The crops are growing. The tomatoes are getting transplanted. The courgettes are starting their vertical experiment. The sugar snaps and rucola have already given food for donations. The plum tree has become a bird nursery. And the season is clearly shifting from getting started to keep up or be swallowed by leaves. That is May gardening. It is exciting, productive, and slightly chaotic. You start the month feeling organized. You end the month negotiating with a courgette. But that's also what makes it fun. Every season teaches something new. This year, we're learning how vertical courgettes behave in our greenhouse. We're learning which volunteer tomatoes are worth keeping. We're learning when to remove crops before disease spreads. We're learning how much food we can harvest early for donations. And we're being reminded again that a garden is never just one thing.